hi ho, it's off to where we go. Doodle dum dum, doodle dum dum. Hi ho, hi ho, hi ho, hi ho. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to Danny's Detours, where we talk about anything and everything life related, and consciousness is our canvas. What's Paddy doing down there? Paddy! Paddy! Come on, good boy! Here he is. He's coming. But yeah, I don't know if you can see in the distance down there's actually a tree, and it's had like half of the trunk burnt away, so that looks like it's getting ready to fall down. But yeah, so welcome back to the show, and glad to have you all here. I've been trying to like record my video numerous times, but I've got like low battery and I've not really got much storage on it, so I've had to mess around, and you know what it's like. But yeah, it's another absolutely fantastic day today. I'm out with Paddy and Willow. Say hello to Paddy and Willow. And yeah, so we're just starting about. The weather is absolutely amazing. You know, we're so grateful and blessed to have been able to get nice weather like this for the last few days. But yeah, so today I just basically wanted to tell you a story about what happened to me. Obviously, it was when I was 8 years old, and was basically diagnosed with meningitis, which is a meningococcal septicemia. And what had happened, you know, I was 8 years old. Obviously, my mum was walking. I still remember it to this day, actually. But my mum was walking me to school, and it was with me and my brother. And morning. Yeah, and basically what had happened, they was walking me to school, and yeah, so there was me, my brother, and as we was walking down the canal, what had happened, we'd seen a stranger, like a homeless person, sat on the bench, and yeah, he basically said to my mum, "Have you got any spare change?" And I was like, you know, well, I didn't really think anything of it, because obviously I'm 8 years old walking to school. And then my mum turned around and said, "No, I don't have any spare change, love." And she's like, "Oh, okay." I said, "But what I can do," he said, "I can, you know, I can get you a flask of tea on the way back." And basically he turned around to my mum and said, "Oh, God bless you." And that was the morning when basically my mum took me and my brother to school. And that was the day where, you know, it all started. Obviously I went into class, and I just started projectile vomiting everywhere, like literally like being sick like I've never been sick before. And obviously they rang my parents, and basically said to him, you know, can you come pick your son up, because obviously he's really not well. So then they brought me home, and I still remember to this day that they put me, well, I was led on the sofa, and I was asking my mum for cups of tea. Like, how strange is that? Like, how many 8-year-olds do you know out there that sit there drinking cups of tea? So that was strange in itself. And then obviously after that, the rest, well, I don't remember the rest of it, because obviously, you know, what had happened, I went into a coma, and I was in a coma for around about, I think about 5 days. But basically turned around to my parents, they took me to the hospital, doctor had to come out to the house, and they basically said to my parents that there's a 99% chance that, you know, your son's not going to make it, he's probably going to die, because he's really, really not well. And I always look back to this day and think to myself that how lucky am I? And this is why I always show gratitude, is because the majority of people that you hear about who get these disease, well, you know, these illnesses, you know, they end up either like, they have like they're no longer mentally the same, or they basically get, they can have like amputated limbs because they lose arms and legs and stuff like that. And literally, like, what had happened, I was in hospital for a good few weeks, I was really unwell, and I had to learn how to walk again. Like, literally, I still remember that process, and I always look back to it and think, like, how lucky am I now, really, because, I'm a fit lad, I've got 3 kids, 2 lovely dogs, Paddy and Willow, and I always look back to that day, because even if I'm having a bad day or things aren't going the way you want it to in life, I always look back to that and think, God give me another chance that day. He really did, he literally gave me another chance, and that's why I know and I understand that there is a higher power. So for anyone out there that is struggling, or they feel like they're losing hope, never, because your life is already planned out for you. All you have to do is just go with the flow, know what you are. If you want to attract wealth, be wealth. Don't say I want health, I want wealth. You have to embody wealth. You have to say I am wealth. Yeah, irrelevant of your external circumstances or whatever's going on at school, if you're at school, or anything. And it's like you're never too old. You're never too old to learn new tricks, or your life is just, the way I see it, Earth is it's a school where we just learn experiences, and it just lets me think and let me know that anything is possible. So it's it just all starts from within. Like, you got to get up in the morning, you've got to say to yourself, I am amazing, I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am abundant, I am Christ consciousness. And consciousness is your canvas, because you are the artist, you are the architect of your future. But then again, I say your future, but like, the future doesn't exist when you think about it, because that is one thing that we cannot control in life. We cannot control the future, and we cannot control the past, but yet we spend so much energy and time holding on to these thoughts, or these, like, you say maybe if something happened bad in your past, people hold on to that trauma, and I understand that, but it's like, that is not who you are. That trauma or that event or whatever happened in your past, or maybe you did wrong to someone, that is not who you are as a person. Because at the end of the day, you come into this world as a pure soul, and it's only through, over time, going to institutions, schools, whatever it may be, or listening to the news, negative people's opinions on you and stuff like that. Basically, it's, it turns you into something that makes you become preconditioned to a person that that isn't who you are. So, but we start to believe these narratives, or these stories, or these, whatever's getting played out in the media, and we start to believe these things, don't we? So, but that, you just always got to go back to it and say to yourself, I was put on this earth to create and to build. I wasn't here to consume. Obviously we consume food, stuff like that, but we was put here for a reason, and everyone's reason is different. Hence why I've started this channel, and it's really has given me like the motivation to just go on and just really start to push it. And this and a lot of these videos that I do, I don't play them out, I don't plan them or anything like that. So sometimes I press the I press the record on the camera, and I'm literally just like, right, start talking, Danny. And I am pretty good at that, to be fair. And sometimes I might sound like a broken record, but I'm not, even not so much so I'm just doing it for me, I'm doing it for you guys as well, because I'm just letting you know that you have the power. You are the power, because when you come into this world, you already was perfect, you already was amazing, you already had everything and everything, you already was wealthy, you already was healthy, you already was abundant. Don't let the external dictate your internal, because internally you already are perfect. So but I just thought I'd leave you with that little story of what had happened to me, you know, when I had meningitis, and just to give you all a little bit of clarity and inspiration, just to make you think that, you know, any irrelevant of what happens, you know, you've always got to have gratitude, because gratitude is the attitude, you know, and that is a high frequency, because obviously, like, gratitude and love, they're the two highest, most vibrational frequencies that you can perform in this life. So always remember that, guys. But yeah, Paddy and Willow are out and about. They don't know to be anything other than a dog, sniffing round. I think Willow's looking for I think she's doing another turd review, aren't you? Out of 10, Willow, what would you give it out of 10? Oh, 4 out, right, yeah, 4 out of 10, she says. So yeah, Willow's done a turd burglar review and 4 out of 10. They're getting better. But oh yeah, so thank you all for joining me on my walk along. You know, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to the channel, because obviously it helps grow the algorithm and helps me create better content for you guys. There's a link in the description to buy me a coffee if you choose to do so. I really appreciate it. Until the next time, peace.